You've just hit a wall of overwhelming stress, and instead of reaching out for a lifeline, your immediate reaction is to crawl into a dark room and swipe away every incoming text asking if you're okay. Cultural norms and popular psychology often label this desire to retreat as an avoidant red flag. Because humans are social creatures, the instinct to isolate is frequently framed as a failure of healthy coping. This framing creates a heavy sense of guilt. You might feel as though you are failing at being a functional human by pushing your loved ones away during your most vulnerable moments. There is another way to look at this behavior. The urge to distance yourself may actually serve a specific purpose hidden within our biological development. This withdrawal functions as a biological defense mechanism. It is a tool prioritized by the nervous system to ensure immediate self-preservation. This response is often tied to a psychological concept known as the internal locus of control. This animated diagram represents that mindset. People with an internal locus of control believe they must personally dictate and resolve their own outcomes to survive a crisis. When stress levels peak, the primary objective for this personality is to secure their immediate environment. They feel they cannot begin to address the core problem until they have established total containment. Introducing other people into the crisis, even well-meaning friends offering help, injects unpredictable variables into a fragile system. To a mind trying to stabilize itself, an incoming offer of support can feel like a new fire that needs to be managed. Ignoring a phone call allows the individual to remove one more uncontrollable input. It is an attempt to isolate specific variables so they can be handled one by one. This isolation creates a temporary, sealed environment. In this space, the individual can solve the problem independently, free from the weight of managing external reactions or expectations. By systematically removing these external variables, the mind clears enough space to start processing the actual crisis and regain a sense of command. With variables cleared, the mind deploys two defensive layers, lowering expectations and building emotional distance. By lowering expectations of others, the brain removes the possibility of external disappointment. When you are already highly vulnerable and exhausted, you simply lack the necessary emotional bandwidth to handle someone letting you down. This blueprint illustrates the second layer, building emotional distance. The mind creates a buffer zone, concentric defensive walls, to prevent outside drama or social obligations from knocking its internal system off balance. The process of erecting these boundaries consumes significant cognitive energy. This makes the act of shutting down a resource-intensive operation rather than a simple surrender. Beyond psychology, we must also consider the raw, underlying physiological reality of a nervous system currently flooded by high stress. Social interaction, including basic communication, maintaining empathy, and reading social cues, demands massive amounts of energy. For a brain in crisis, these social requirements act as a continuous biological tax. As the internal battery depletes, the system struggles to stay online. Physical withdrawal functions as emergency sensory deprivation, cutting off external energy drains. Once severed, the energy flow reverses. This conserved power is redirected inward to stabilize and calibrate the overloaded system. The nervous system takes itself offline to perform essential maintenance. This recalibration is a physical requirement to prevent a total systemic collapse. Think back to that unanswered text message. We can now see that the silence isn't a sign of a failing relationship. This period of isolation provides the quiet required to rebuild resilience. It is the recovery phase that allows you to return to your life with more strength than when you left. You can frame this phase as a temporary maintenance mode for your nervous system. Recognizing this helps separate your current needs from your permanent personality. You can communicate this need to your support network by stating that you are going offline temporarily to process the situation, while making it clear that you will return once the system is back in balance. Understanding the true architecture of emotional withdrawal allows you to honor your nervous system's need for control. You can take the time you need to recover without damaging the relationships you value.